Consumer New Zealand has released a report calling out the amount of sodium in many common grocery items like these in front of us here. The report specifically looks at ultra-processed foods, pointing out the high salt levels in products like potato chips, tinned tomatoes and salami. However, the call has left some health experts bemused given the necessity of salt in our diets. AUT Public Health Professor Grant Schofield is with us this morning. Good morning.
Morning.
Good to see you. So let's start. So if I have a tomato, it's got, have I got this right, about 2 milligrams per 100 grams of salt, of sodium. What's sodium? Let's start with the basics.
Yeah, sodium chloride breaks down to sodium. It's pretty much an essential nutrient. You're not going to live without it. Every time a nerve fires or a muscle goes, then you need it, and you lose some because you sweat. So you probably need to replace some. That's one thing.
So we need it. We need sodium.
Yeah, that's true, and we're pretty finely tuned to getting enough and knowing when to stop it. The problem with the ultra-processed foods is that some of them don't taste salty, like a muesli bar has salt in it, a cake has salt in it, so you end up having probably more than you need. For some people that's an issue, but like in my mind, honestly, salt is a bit of a problem, but it's a little bit like trying to fix a squeaky door when there's a gaping hole in the roof, to be honest.
What's the gaping hole?
The gaping hole is that if you go and look at what New Zealanders put in their shopping trolleys or what they eat, and especially for things like kids' lunches, then it's almost exclusively ultra-processed packaged food. And yeah, it's got some salt, but it's actually the refined carbs, the sugar, the processed vegetable oils. Those are toxic, and we just need to eat way less of those. That's the hole in the roof.
Okay. All right. So, well, we're going to focus on sodium. I know you won't like that, what you just said. But so if we took regular tomatoes, how much salt in it? If I ate tomatoes, just fresh tomatoes, it's like 2 milligrams per 100 grams, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is a canned tomatoes. In this, you've got 145 milligrams per 100 grams.
Yeah.
That's a lot more.
Yeah, it's a lot more. I mean, remember, humans have in the grams of sodium per day, so 4 grams is about what you might have. So it sounds bad, 140 milligrams. The second thing is, if you get a can of unsalted tomatoes and eat it and see how that you like that, this doesn't actually taste very good.
Right. So you hang on, you're like a health professor, and you're saying we should have salt in our chips and in our canned.
No. I think the problem is that for something like canned tomatoes, like it's not a massive deal, and canned tomatoes are actually relatively close to actually whole food. Like they were recently alive.
All right.
Whereas what you're picking up now,
yeah, this is far less alive, and far more. Look, this is 935 milligrams per 100 grams.
Yeah, but to be fair, you're not probably. Well, I'm not sure if you're going to do this wrong, but you're probably not going to hold up the tomato sauce and start to eat it in the quantities that you would eat the tomatoes. So
you haven't seen me after a few beers getting into some potatoes, into some French fries.
I often call my husband a bit of a Grinch, because if we were having something which would normally lend itself to tomato sauce, he wouldn't let my son have tomato sauce. He'll give like tomato sauce that you would have, like a pasta sauce.
Yeah.
But is that any better?
Oh yeah,
it's
definitely lower in salt. Yeah.
Right.
And sugar as well, a lot of sugar.
I think. I mean, that's the hole in the roof with the tomato sauce, to be honest, is it's full of sugar.
So a lot of people are saying we should regulate how much sodium and potentially how much sugar and those things are in individual products. Yeah. What's your philosophy on this? Should we be educating people to eat less of stuff? Should we be limiting how much sugar and sodium is in a bottle, or should we be saying you can only buy one of these a week? What do we do?
Oh, look, if we could somehow convince New Zealanders to go, look, here's your template for eating. On one side, we've got ultra-processed food, so food that clearly doesn't resemble anything that was alive. Can you have that as 10 or 20% of what you eat? So you can still have your chips and beers on a Friday, but not for breakfast and not for, maybe every night of the week. And then 80% of what you eat is whole food, and so I call that food low in human interference. So it was clearly growing somewhere, running, flying, swimming recently. If that was our case, we'd be so much better as a population. And you could add salt then, and you can add it to taste, and it's going to be fine. And there's no harm in that, in my opinion.
It's slower. It takes a lot more time, doesn't it, to do?
I guess it's ultimately, isn't it, about moderation for most things? You know, if you have a little bit, then it's not going to do you any harm.
Yeah, but we've lost our way as a society, right? You can only have to go down to the supermarket yourself, and I don't know if you do this, you sidle up next to someone and have a little peek in their basket.
See which way their bananas are facing.
Well, if it was just bananas, that'd be all right. But actually, you know, the bulk of what we're buying is food that humans aren't designed to eat.
Yes.
It hasn't been in our legacy of how we've grown up as a species, and it just doesn't suit us.
Once you've gone through the fruit and veggie and the meat aisles, the rest of the supermarket is basically processed, isn't it?
Well, that's right. You can proceed straight to the checkout. That would be a great philosophy. Yeah.
See, this expires or used by the 16th of July. I mean, we shouldn't be able to wait that long to eat something. You know, it's meat. Anyway, thank you for coming in. Great to see you.